Hello everyone and welcome back to the city of Elba, where we are participating in City Planner Play's community build-up. The building you see in the background right here is the post office, and one of the reasons why we're looking at this is I got a bit worried that our post office might not be able to handle all of this. Now keep in mind this is a small post office, 20 employees, and they're supposed to handle the mail requirements for 30,000 people. So let's actually have a look. In the telecommunication, nope. Sorry. That was a bit slow. Anyways, in our mail services. So as you can see, we're producing 50,000 letters per month, and we're only having a processing speed of 37,000. So getting something that is a bit more able to handle all of this makes a ton of sense to me. And the perfect place for this to go would actually be in our industry area. Now we have a little slot here that I think we had initially kept available for additional police, but overall the crime rate doesn't seem to be too high. So maybe it's all right. Anyways. We're gonna go and look into our communication app. So we could technically unlock the post sorting facility, or actually put in a larger post office. To be honest, one of these or one of these kind of just makes sense, right? I don't know if the post sorting facility sorting speed 50,000 per month. That would be the entirety of what we really need. It wouldn't add any post trucks. Then again, our Japanese office can handle 300 mailboxes, and we don't have that many mailboxes yet. So, actually, why don't we actually put in another modernist post office right here? I'm going to do a little bit of regrading, so we don't, just cut into the mountain, but technically that's what we're doing. And after I'm done with that, I'll be right back. And that didn't take too long. And now we have the perfect spot right here for our extended post office or post facility. So let's place it down right away. And this will help keep our buildings or our entire community in check in terms of the mail processing capacity. Let's also have a look here. Extension wing, mailbox capacity, storage capacity. Yeah, we don't need to add any of this. With the added 20 vans that will help sort of keep our entire area in check, I think we'll be fine. Since we are here, we have a little bit of commercial right here. However, our entire community here has grown quite a bit. So I am wondering if we should extend this. Not with the mixed housing, of course, no housing at all. But maybe we'll actually just make this one a little bit bigger, since it can actually fit a bigger building. And then we're just gonna leave it at that. We will keep the spaces to the side open for future expansion. But ultimately, I think actually a parking lot over here might be quite nice. There's a little bit of parking for the employee. Actually, there's no parking for the employees here. Interesting. And it does have 40 employees. So let's actually have a quick look in our parking area. And starting to sound like City Planner Place putting parking everywhere. Not too bad, I guess. And we're just gonna place a medium lot right next to it, which will help provide some additional access to our post facility. Also gonna do a little bit of landscaping. Nothing too fancy. I don't think. Actually, those trees might fit in there, and they will. So let's just put in a row of trees around there, as close together as possible. And do the same on the other side and in the back. All right, like I said, nothing fancy, just a little bit, which ultimately will make this area look a little bit nicer. One more row of trees on the other side just to complete the look. And then we just say that when the post facility was built, they also built this parking lot right here and then insisted on having the entire facility surrounded by those specific trees. There we go. And this way it looks a little bit more integrated, a little bit more meaningful. And I hope our citizens appreciate that. All right, this was fix 1. Fix 2, as we have seen last time, was the death care, or is the death care. This cemetery is struggling quite a bit, which means we just need alternatives. So not only this, but I also noticed the cemetery that I've built up here. I never put down the mausoleum, which is required to make this a tourist attraction, I think. So very important that we're actually placing this down. And the way I'm seeing, we could actually expand overall this area also with a temple and maybe even a columbarium. So we just would need to figure out where to place this. I think if we extend this over here, that could be a nice spot without carving even more in that relatively steep area back here. But I could see this becoming quite a nice area. Well, we're making it quite a nice area. Also, we don't have any death care in our facility back here. So I'm thinking we're just flattening out the area back here and put another small cemetery in, which I think would be an excellent amenity for the community, but also just give the community a place to, you know, just come and mourn their loved ones without having to travel all the way into the city. So these two cemetery approaches definitely will be useful. And I think we're also going to add another crematorium. Now, for the place of the crematorium, I know it's gonna sound a little bit strange, but I actually think close to our hospital makes a ton of sense. And I don't want it to be there when people drive in, but considering this is the employee parking lot, so to speak, I think putting it right next to that parking lot would make a ton of sense. And that can just be our small French crematorium. It will actually fit in quite nicely, and we just need to adapt this little path here. So this is what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna start with that cemetery all the way back here. So let me do some pre-grading and then get back to you. Nothing too fancy. And that should give us enough space, I think, for our UK cemetery, and it does. Actually, I might need to make this a little bit, expand this a little bit. So 1 second. All right, with this, that is plenty of space, as you just saw. For our cemetery, we will be able to just place it in here. Then have a front-facing road, but I also want to make sure that there will be a little bit of parking just off to the side. Nothing, again, nothing major, but, you know, maybe we should actually first place the road. All right, let's do that. Just like this. Gonna expand the road out here, and we're gonna flatten out bit more of a plateau out the front where our parking will actually go. So because this is a little bit offside, I think most people would be driving here, and this particular cemetery doesn't actually have any parking assigned to it. So we just need to plan for it. At the same time, I'm gonna just make this a little bit smoother. Here we go. And then our parking, this could be that. Maybe something. Why does it need to face this way? The medium one is just too big. All right, modest parking lot, maybe that's the one to go for. Alternatively, yeah, we need that side area. Could also place it on this side, to be honest. Stop snapping. If we run a road over this way, we do actually have enough pre-graded areas here. So what we could do instead then, and I don't use these enough in all honesty, is make sure we have not a one-way, two-lane. Yes, it would be one of these. We upgrade this. I just want it on one side. We cannot have it on one side? Really? Okay, I guess that also takes care of that. Because this is just ridiculous. Alright. So let's go in here. Small single row. We can fix that like that. Even though I don't think they need this much headroom, especially not in this area. And we're, like I said, going to place a road on the side here. And I would need to go over this way. Just like that. And then we can, we won't be able to fit, I think, the small one. Actually, we will. So let's place the small parking lot here off to the side. Now, I personally don't think there would be any lights, to be honest, because I don't see them actually having to go there in the middle of the night. But, yeah, let's actually add the extension facilities to this as well, because again, it's supposed to supply the entire area here, which I think will make this pretty nice. The street lights, in my opinion, like I said, looks a little bit ridiculous, but we're just gonna accept it and move away from this area. But before we do, need to make sure we add some more trees. Alright, again, nothing fancy, something pretty quick, which gives this a bit more of a secluded feel to it. But ultimately, I think people would appreciate it, the more quiet area. Now it is still like open to this part, which technically I don't mind, but we can actually do something about it, so why not? Here we go, just 3 more trees. And with that, our little death care facility in this corner is doing pretty well. It's already in use, so seems like there was some need for it. Next, we're gonna do our work over here, and we're gonna do exactly what I mentioned before. We're gonna cut into this hillside, make this a little bit of a plateau, which will give us the opportunity to place the extension buildings over this way. So I'm gonna start some pre-grading, and then I'll be right back. So I'm back already. I've extended this out, but I just realized our circle of influence just stops there. So that was not great. But I think we will just make a little bit more of a grading and put the temple up here. The mausoleum, on the other hand, actually fits over here. So we're gonna place this down right away, close to our park in this section, which I think will ultimately be quite beneficial. So let me go ahead and do a bit more of our grading at the front. Smooth this out as well, so it's not as intense. Now I could remove some of this area back here, and I'm actually gonna do that. And just extend our alleyway up this way. Now let's have a look. The temple. It will kind of work, so we're placing it down first and grade the rest around it. Which I think overall makes sense. Didn't look too bad. And with this, we have a bit more beneficial. This is +3 well-being within 300 meters. some of that will, I think, actually reach it. I don't know if I see the circle of influence of this. I don't think I do. Anyways, I think it cannot hurt. Let's put it like that. Now this part here is still pretty big. We could place it over there. It does add more storage capacity, but this one actually doesn't need more storage capacity. Overall, it is doing fine. So let's go in and place a few more trees, and then I'll be right back. All right, here we go. This is in part to cover up some of the ugly area back here, but overall, it would also help keep the soil in check along these, so I think that will be all right. Okay, so that has taken care of this. So we're moving over to our hospital area and are gonna place our crematorium. So first we're gonna remove these paths to give us a little bit of space to work with. And all of this should actually be pretty much pre-graded to fit our crematorium in there. So let's go into death care, French crematorium. I don't want to snap it to the road because I want to keep that row of bushes that we have placed in here. So if we face it this way, yep, it kept it all. It put this a little bit too close to the road. Let's move this further out a little bit. And that has destroyed our bushes. Excellent. There we go. Small row of bushes in between those two. I think that is fine. This is facing the back of this cafe. So unless our patients basically walk back here, they wouldn't see it. And having some death care close by to the hospital, it sounds a bit morbid. It's actually not too bad a thing, right? It will, I would assume it will be appreciated by our patients and their families. At least I would hope so. So, you know, it is what it is. Right, just gonna connect this pedestrian path back up. Just straight up. And then we're gonna add a bit more of our landscaping here. A bit more bush, trees to hide basically the crematorium. Alright, here we go. And if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't be any wiser. Driving in here, you might see it at the corner of your eye. I guess you would probably more like walk in here, go straight into the hospital, and overall, I think it would be okay. Now this hospital is not that well used, which I'm surprised about a little bit, but I guess this would be just the main facility, and if they can't treat you locally, that is where you would end up going. And we're actually losing population, and I'm wondering why. Everyone is pretty happy. Our commercial is a bit unhappy about the taxes, so let's have a quick look. Yep, you're still at 11%. That explains it. So fix that, but maybe we just need additional housing for our city. One more thing that we can actually do is work a little bit on this area, because there's a ton of roads around that actually haven't been zoned for houses. So just gonna quickly go through some of these. Gonna put in also some French medium density housing. I think those were the ones that are in here. Let's check it out. Yep, that looks about right. So we're gonna place some over here. Again, making a bit more use of this entire area. And then continue with the Eastern European zoning throughout. Alright, I just wanted to wait until they are done zoning in, and they are done now. So that actually seems like a really nice drop-off in terms of density before it moves into these. Which makes me think maybe we should actually place some of them along those lines. So let me go through and do that as well. And one thing that you've just seen me do is look at the weird garbage issue at our harbor. I'm not entirely sure why there is a garbage issue, but I guess not much we can do about it. Because the capacity is there. Alright, one more row in here. And this is our high school, so that works out nice for us. Let me pause both of these. I think we can actually add one more row here. We kind of just fill it all up. And while I'm waiting for this to zone in, there is actually trees that can go in here. So let's place some. Same as there. Maybe not. Interesting. I guess the road is too close. But it is fine. We don't need to fill everything up with trees. Alright. They have spawned in here now. It still seems a little bit like a drop-off, but that one is way too big. So let me go and fix that. Just like this. A 3 depth one is what we're looking for. And maybe we'll remove that skinny one as well, although it is actually okay, to be honest. No, I don't like it. I really don't like it. So let's remove this row. And instead place a little playground down here. Which should just about fit. Small playground, snap to the road, in here, perfect. Alright, still I think the way it's tapered off is kind of nice. Not entirely sure about those solid walls. I would think these would be windows, ultimately. But yeah, kind of not much I can do about it. Unless we're actually picking a different medium density building. So let's pause this and give this a try at one of them. We can actually use some row housing for this. And if we make it only too deep, it might actually not be too bad in terms of density. Let's see what they look like. There would still be a wall in the back, but I think that would be okay. Maybe at least. I think some of them are tapered out the back with some gardening. Alright, we're waiting till this grows in. But I'm still hopeful. Alright. In the meantime, let's have a look over here. So this could be actually mixed use. Do we have a mixed use French? Mixed housing, yeah. Let's have a look at what they look like. Stop it. Here we go. Yeah. Fish. Maybe they're a bit taller than these, which would kind of work out. Though I do like the colors, to be honest. Alright, they have spawned in. Not entirely sure about these walls. Now these look kind of what I was hoping for. to be honest. So we could just play whack-a-mole, removing the ones that we don't like. That's probably way too tall as well. I think they're gonna try to spawn these in anyways. They have come in now. It kind of makes a bit more sense for these blocks, doesn't it? Alright, let's go ahead and replace all of this commercial over here with our mixed-use French housing. But we are gonna leave the more colorful version on this side. Alright, here we go. Now these look pretty good. Makes me think I want another one of these instead. And I'm going to start filling this up and play whack-a-mole for a little while, and you don't need to listen to me doing that. Alright, I am actually going to stop because what I just realized is even I would love to have these in here, but once they level up, they're gonna start looking like this. So no point in me, trying to figure out how to keep them looking perfect if they're gonna just upgrade to that weird looking shape like that. I don't know why they have these walls up here. I mean, yes, if they're like multiple, but this one, for example, why is there a wall that goes all the way to the top? Don't understand. Alright, I think I've also accidentally put some medium density Eastern European housings in. They look a little bit strange, but in all honesty, not too bad. And creates a little bit more natural variation, so we're gonna leave it at that. Alright, and with that, I am going to end the episode right here. And as the disaster hits again, let's set it out and then touch base. Alright, I'm glad it didn't hit our hospital. That would have been pretty bad. But regardless, this is what our city currently looks like. And I think it's starting to look, well, not starting, I think it looks really nice. So thank you all for watching. Let's just take a tour through some part of the city, some random part, and then I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.